This is Valley News Live at 5.
Hello again, everyone. We begin with the weather, in large part because it's an important weekend for trick-or-treaters, the young and the not so young, who will be out and about. Let's begin by checking in with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson. And Hutch, how's tonight looking?
Well, I got to tell you what, it's probably going to be as quiet weather pattern as we'll have through the entire weekend. So get out tonight and enjoy. We have crystal clear skies finally after that fog lingered for hours and hours in Lakes Country today. A beautiful setting sun in the Grand Forks area here at our home of economy location. Speaking of that fog, take a look at this soupy green pea soup right out here in Lakes Country. From the 3 a.m. hour all the way beyond and almost into the noon hour, 0 to under a mile of visibility in many of our eastern counties in central Minnesota. That visibility has improved greatly. The visible satellite shows those clouds kind of just melting away there. They warm up, that air warms up, and the clouds evaporate, the fog evaporates, but it took its time today into the early afternoon. If you want warm weather, get in the jalopy and head out west to Dickinson. 74 degrees, growing bananas out there. You'd watch out for coconuts falling from the palm trees. For us, we have low 50s and even some 40s up near Lake of the Woods. Frankie said it was another foggy day, but not too scary because the afternoon turned out real nice. Tonight looks real nice. South winds keep us milder. We're not going to be as cold in most locations tonight, Mike, but a cold front will be here tomorrow, so there will be change in the form of rain and wind on Saturday, and then some spooky details we'll go through hour by hour style here in just a few moments for your Halloween.
All right, I guess we'll look forward to that. Thanks.
Yep.
Authorities say a Fargo woman has been charged with trying to sexually assault a 12-year-old girl after getting her drunk. 35-year-old Carlissa Ochoa Vasquez is charged with attempted gross sexual imposition and contributing to the deprivation of a minor. The victim told investigators that Vasquez gave her wine and vodka and was touchy in making out with her. Authorities say that Vasquez asked a man to have a threesome with them. Vasquez then told investigators that she and the victim blacked out. Documents say the 12-year-old was hospitalized due to extreme intoxication. The case is closed on an hours-long standoff that led to a shelter-in-place in North Fargo. Cass County prosecutors say Carrie Knutson won't face any charges in that incident. Back on October 5th, officers were sent to the 700 block of 14th Street North on a report of a man firing at least one shot in a home with a woman and child inside. Knutson later told us he wasn't even in the home at the time and never fired a gun. A judge says a Minnesota man accused of killing 3 family members with a wrench is mentally incompetent to stand trial. David Akers is charged in last year's murders of his sister, mother, and grandmother in a Minneapolis suburb. The ruling cites testimony from doctors about how his schizophrenia was made worse by energy drinks. During one hospitalization back in 2018, the judge who ruled in this case says his psychotic symptoms appeared to worsen with the ingestion of large amounts of the drink. The relationship between psychosis and caffeine has been studied for years, and it has been shown to exacerbate previous symptoms. Meanwhile, another Minnesota man has been charged with trying to extort $150,000 from Major League Baseball, illegally streaming copyrighted content from major professional sports leagues online. Joshua Strait of St. Louis Park is accused of hacking into the computer systems of the MLB, NBA, NFL, and NHL to stream live games. Authorities say that he then tried to extort the MLB, threatening to expose the vulnerability that he used to steal content. He faces 5 criminal charges. President Joe Biden is on damage control at the G20 summit this weekend. Biden telling the president of France, Emmanuel Macron, that the U.S. was clumsy in the handling of a secret submarine deal with Australia after a private audience with the Pope today. As Wendy Wolfork explains, President Biden is trying to gather support from other world leaders on issues like climate change, as his agenda at home hangs in the balance.
As the president prepares for the international spotlight this weekend, a warm reception for the first couple from Pope Francis. Well-timed before a difficult meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron, the first face-to-face visit between the two leaders after the fallout between Paris and Washington over the deal with nuclear submarines and Australia.
What happened was, to use an English phrase, what he did was clumsy. was not done with a lot of grace.
While taking the world stage, the president has yet to strike a deal on his own sweeping social and climate agenda at home. The House postponed any vote on a bipartisan infrastructure bill until next week, after progressives refused to support it amid a standoff over the larger $1.75 trillion spending bill.
Clearly, to my mind, it has some major gaps in it.
More pressure as the president wants to rally commitments from world leaders on issues like COVID, climate change, and helping the poor.
What will the team around Biden do next? What other meetings could they set up going beyond the G20 and Glasgow?
Tricky political maneuvering while the first-term president struggles to make progress at home and abroad. Wendy Woolfolk, NBC News.
Here at home, North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum has called for a special legislative session that will start Monday, November 8th. He says the focus will include redrawing state legislative district lines, allocating the $1 billion in American Rescue Plan funds, and discussing natural gas infrastructure. The governor says a deal has been reached, but that 80% of the plan's dollars are still up for debate. The FDA has approved Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine for children ages 5 to 11. Pfizer says its vaccine is nearly 91% effective at preventing symptomatic illness in children, adding that it appears to hold up well against the highly transmissible Delta variant. The decision, along with an okay from the CDC next week, would pave the way for kids to start getting shots by early November. Meanwhile, vaccinations among 12 to 17-year-old Minnesotans are up nearly 40% since the launch of the campaign called Kids Deserve a Shot. During the first week of the campaign, more than 2,200 kids got their first dose, compared to just 1,600 the week before. For more information on the incentives your child can get for getting his or her shot, head to our website, valleynewslive.com. Boosterpalooza could be coming now that the government has authorized COVID-19 booster shots. A new analysis found that 89% of vaccinated Americans are eligible for boosters once enough time passes after their original vaccination. This includes everyone who received a Johnson & Johnson shot who qualify for a booster 2 months after their first shot dose. Those who receive Moderna and/or Pfizer can get a booster at least 6 months after their second shot, if they are older than 65 or older than 18 with underlying medical conditions or living or working in long-term or high-risk settings. According to the CDC, that includes anyone who smokes, is overweight, has anxiety, depression, or other medical conditions. It also includes teachers and healthcare workers. A candlelight vigil will be held tonight for a Moorhead Middle School student who unexpectedly died last week. 13-year-old Jacoby Blake was a student at Horizon Middle School. Tonight's vigil starts at 6:30. It's going to be at the school. You're encouraged to bring candles or anything that promotes mental health awareness. Fargo Force founder and owner Ace Brandt will be remembered tonight at a memorial hockey game in his honor. Ace passed away on October 16th, leaves behind a big impact to the local hockey community. 2 Force jerseys will be displayed on center ice tonight, one from 2008, the year the Fargo Force was established, and a current season's jersey. Both will include Ace's name and an 08 on the back. A third jersey will be framed and mounted in the Fargo Force locker room. Stick around. After the weather, we're going to take a look back several years at a Halloween blizzard that really nailed parts of Minnesota.
And today we started out with some real dense and heavy fog across Lakes Country. This was Jana's photo from the Rolog area. Look at the wind towers in the background standing up above the foggy photos. Thanks so much for sharing your photos. Now we have some weather to talk about tonight. Pretty nice. This weekend changes. Details next.